Hey everybody, it's Karen with Food and Family. I'm getting ready to start dinner. Tonight I'm going to make a chicken pot pie, and I'm going to do something that I call just good stuff. It's a mixture of squash, green tomatoes, and potatoes. Put it all together and cook it in the frying pan. But first we've got to get started on our chicken pot pie. So I've got my skillet heating up here. That bottle was out of oil. I didn't fill it up. I'm going to put just the tiniest bit of oil in this skillet, but I'm going to use some butter. So that's about, a little bit more, and we'll have a couple of tablespoons, okay? Then we're starting a gravy. And what you want to do is you want kind of equal parts fat and flour, as equal as you can get it. Now, so that was like a tablespoon of oil and probably closer to 3 tablespoons of butter. So I'm going to start with a 1/4 cup of flour. Now, I may come back and add a little bit more. We're just going to stir it around because you want to get that raw flour taste out of that flour, because if you don't, it is just not going to be up to the deliciousness that you want it to be. And I am going to put just a tad more, about a teaspoon. You just want it to get pasty. Okay, so while that's cooking, and I should have done it first, I'm going to add just a little bit of onion. I chopped up some onion. But you know what? It's going to be okay because that onion is going to cook with all this other good stuff. If it has a little crunch left to it, that's fine. I think I still want to get a little thicker. Another teaspoon. Let's go with that. That did the trick. That did it. But I've had a chicken breast in my freezer, so I took it out and I thawed it, and I put it in my pot and I boiled it. And then I drained it off, keep the juice, because that's what we're going to use. It's broth, and fresh chicken broth. And I took my chicken out and set it aside and broke it up so it kind of start cooling so I could handle it. So here we go. Let's start putting some in. Ooh. I wish you could smell it. We're going to put some, I'm going to put some pepper. Now I may put just a little bit of salt, but I salted this chicken when I cooked it. So I don't want to put a whole lot of salt in it because I don't want to get it salty. I don't know if you can see well enough in that pan. I'm going to hold it up to you what I can in just a minute. Once I get this gravy to the consistency I want it, and I may have to get a little bit of box stock to go in here. But I want it thick. I do not want it soupy. So, and I'm going to add a little bit of milk to it as well. Okay, so let's add some pepper. Y'all like my new pepper grinders? Now, they're on my Amazon store if you're interested in them. I got salt and pepper, and the link to the Amazon store will be under the description, in the description box under this video. Click on more in the description. It'll open up, and then scroll down till you find the Amazon store. That is looking perfect. Okay, so I want to shred my chicken. And I just want a little shreds, big shreds. I don't want it fine. And I'm going to just drop them over in here. Okay, now I got that chicken in there. Now you see how thick that is? That's what I want. Okay, so set that aside. I'm done with it. I want to add a little bit of milk. I just want it to make a little bit creamier. If I had some half and half or some heavy cream, I would certainly be using that. But I haven't been to the grocery store. So I'm using milk. Whatever you have. I have whole milk. You can use 2%. Now I have some mixed vegetables. It has corn, carrots, peas, green beans. Anything you would put in a chicken pot pie is in this. So listen, take advantage of it. Especially if you don't have frozen, use can if you have it. Get your can of veg all and use that. Now I'm going to add just a little bit more milk. Not much, let's use it all. That might have been another teaspoon. I have my oven set on 450 and it's preheated, waiting for me to put this together. I'm going to let this heat for just a second. Now, while that's heating, I'm going to grab my dish and my pie crust. I have a 10-inch deep dish, and I am going to put this in there, and then we're going to put that pie crust on top of it. And then we're going to bake it. Oh my goodness. Turn this off. Yeah, look at that. Can you see how pretty that is? Isn't that a beautiful dish? It's so easy to make this homemade. Let's unroll our pie crust and just lay it right on top. And that's all you have to do. It's that simple. It is that simple. No fancy, nothing. Don't stretch it. Just let it drop down in there like it wants to. You don't have to be fancy and do any fluted sides. Once you put it in there, it's going to do its own thing anyway. I want to get a knife. And I'm going to cut a couple of slits, actually 4 slits, in the top of this crust. So when it bakes, that steam will come out and it just helps everything bake. Now, see that? Isn't it pretty? Just letting it lay. Okay, so I'm going to pop it in this oven and bake it according to package directions on your pie crust. So I'm going to come back and check this, and probably I'm going to check it in 30 minutes, but we'll see if it takes longer. Okay, so let me get this mess cleaned up, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how I make my next dish, okay? Stay with me. Yeah, I'm making a correction on my time. I'm going to drop my time down to 20 minutes instead of 30. I'm sorry about that. I told you all wrong. Back in a minute. I'm back, and I'm going to be putting together something that I call just good stuff, and it probably has other names. I don't know what they are. So what I've done is I've got a couple of squash from my garden. It's about 3 medium to small squash, and I've cut them up in half moons. They're not real thick, and I'm going to put them in a bigger bowl. I have a couple of green tomatoes that I've cut up out of my little garden, and I'm going to put those in with the squash. Now, I had to use really small potatoes, so I had 4, but I'd use like 2 medium potatoes, and I cut them up. You want everything as close to the same size as you can get it. Now, of all of these, the squash may cook a little quicker, and I have some chopped onion. Let's put that all in there. Good, right? Good start. Okay, pepper. We're doing fresh ground black pepper, as you can see. Oh, this is going to be so good. We love it. And it's got all your vegetables in here. You know, squash, tomatoes, potatoes even. Some salt. Okay, so I'm going to put some cornmeal and a little bit of flour. Self-rising, plain, does not matter in this case. See, just those couple of vegetables made this huge bowl. I am going to show you what it looks like here in just a second. Now, I've got 3 or 4 tablespoons of oil heating up here in my skillet. Yes, we're going to. Now, looky there. Now, isn't that just a pretty combination? You got your tomatoes, your squash, your potatoes. Looky there. Now, what we're going to do, let's see if this oil is hot. Yes, almost. We're going to put this in there. Hear it. And we're going to fry this. I'm going to put a lid on it. Kind of doing what I call smother fried. Okay. Get down to the end. I'm going to run it back and forth with my hands like that. Overboard. Okay. We had an escapee. All right, so let's move this. Let me rinse my hands real quick. Okay, so I'm going to get a lid, and I'm going to cover this up. Now, in my oven, my stove, this eye gets fairly hot, and I've got it on 3, so I'm going to cut it down to 2. On your stove, you may have to cook it at a little higher temperature. Try to go around between medium, maybe medium high at the most. You want everything good and tender and cooked, because when you finish, you go to eat it, you've got those soft vegetables and that crispy crust. All right, so let me get this cooked. I'm going to come back and show you what it looks like, okay? And we're going to have this dinner pulled together. Hey, my timer went off, and I just took this pot pie out of the oven. Looky there. Isn't that beautiful? Now, I've got to let it cool off a minute before I can dig into it. It's bubbling. I hope you can see it bubbling down in there. But it won't take long, and we're going to be able to try. So while we're here, let's check on our good stuff. Find my spatula. Here it is. That's the one I want. Looky there. Oh, that's looking so pretty. Can you see that? All right, so I'm going to get the lid back on and let this finish cooking. I finished cooking, just good stuff. And I've taken it up, and here it is, all plated up. Doesn't that look delicious? Let's try some. Let's try some. Now, I've let the pot pie has cooled. So we're going to serve us up a little bit of this. Oh, y'all, you've got to try this. It is so, so good. We're going to get some of this delicious pie. Oh gosh, y'all, it's still creamy. That crust is crispy. and all those vegetables. Now, I have a red tomato. Didn't come out of my garden, sadly, but that's okay. I've got some cucumbers that did come out of my garden, and one of my jalapenos that I've told you about. It's a jalapeno without the heat. Isn't that a gorgeous plate? Let's try it. Let's taste all this delicious food, because I think Pop Jones will probably be home in just a few minutes. But I can't wait. Yes, that crust is still crispy. Let's get some of the vegetables. Let's get a little bit of everything. That's the perfect bite, right? Get some of all of it. Try this. I've got to say, the only thing I might do a little different would be maybe add some thyme, or maybe some rosemary or parsley in there. And that would make it perfect, but it is delicious as it is. Okay, so let's taste this. I've got squash, I've got tomato, and I've got a potato on here. Oh, it's so good. Yeah, that's delicious. I certainly hope you'll try these dishes. And if you do, please let me know what you think about them. I certainly appreciate it. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And I thank you for joining me today. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll know when I post my next video. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you soon.